Yeah, here we go. Getting it ready. NFC North talk. We're going to talk some optimism today. You feeling optimistic about your team? Pop in there and let me know. Bear fans, Lion fans, Packer fans, Viking fans. Why is your team going to be good? Give me some optimism. Throw some optimism in there. Why not? Good morning, Calvin. Yo. Here we go. Yeah. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That's right. This is the NFC North. Welcome one, welcome all. NFC North. This is the phone sessions. I am your host, Russell Wayne. And yes, I am a Lions fan representing the Lions. Here we are on July the 13th, 2013. And we actually have some fans that are out there that are avid football fans because it is July and there's like 7 days left till the rookies go in there and start training camp. Like real football activities are going to be in there. And I hope that CNG podcast gets to come on here right here. And I hope that is the yo on there. So I'm going to go through here right here. Jason MC says, Skull. We got we have a Viking fan out there. We got Calvin. What's up, Calvin? One of my favorite Lion fans right there. Calvin, how are you doing, brother? Robert saying, go, Pack, go. All right. Yo, how do you call in? Well, that is going to be a thing. What I can do is put a link for the whole show in here. And if you want to come on and talk to me, I would love that. But I got to figure out where I can put that link up. What can I do? What can I do? So today I wanted to talk a little bit of optimism right here, right? Because, here we all are in the middle of the summer, and this has come the time we know who's on the team. We know who's the optimism of all of these teams. Like, everybody thinks that their team is going to be good. Your 7th round draft picks are going to be awesome. If you're a Packer fan, then Jordan Love is, the 3rd Hall of Fame quarterback, just in a great line of quarterbacks. If you're a Bear fan, you're like, Justin Fields is about ready to break out, and y'all just don't know. The Lion fans are all like, well, we built the franchise up from the ground up, and here we are. We're feeling good. We're feeling like we're going to take the division. And then the Minnesota Vikings, I really don't see how you can be confident at all. But we're going to cover that stuff today with the confidence of each other's teams. Because here we are, it's the middle of July, and all 4 of these teams, really, it is up in the air, isn't it? Isn't it up in the air? Isn't that what you guys really think? I'm a Lion fan, so I don't think it's up in the air. I think that this is Detroit Lions' division to lose here. I don't think that any of the teams are anywhere near where they are from a depth and schematic. Lots of questions on these other teams, where the Lions' biggest question was secondary, and they completely revamped that. Other than that, all of the guys are returning. So, optimistic Lion fan actually has a reason to feel optimistic, because they did finish 8-2 last year. The Lion fan can be optimistic because Jared Goff performed like a top 7 quarterback in this league by every stat. So here's my partner in crime right here. Main Event Mike is calling in right here. How you doing, Main Event Mike?
That's Emmy-nominated Main Event Mike.
Emmy-nominated Main Event Mike. That is crazy. That is crazy. So is this true that Main Event Mike is an Emmy-nominated host for NFC North Open Mic? That's crazy. Tell us about that, Mike.
No, it is true. I was nominated for an Emmy in 2010 on a show I did on Fox and NBC called The Melody Grill. Has nothing to do with the main event. I just like to throw it in there because I'm a big-headed, D-bag.
Hey, that's all right, though. I mean, we have Emmy-nominated Main Event Mike on the line, and evidently, your Emmy nomination from 2010 is about as relevant as the Green Bay Packers' last Super Bowl win, right? Oh, we got some people that are in the comments right now. I've been trying to get C&G Podcast in here, and I can't find my thing to invite them on there. I don't know where my little invite links are. Some destinations won't get them. Am I not allowed to invite people? Am I not allowed to throw out the link to people? Because I am not seeing my link on here. And I apologize for that. Here we are, Real Talk. But what we were going through today, Mike, was optimistic views for each one of the teams. Like, here we are in July, and all the teams feel pretty optimistic. I don't understand why Viking fans are optimistic, but we need to go through team by team. And let's start with the Green Bay Packers. And, like, if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, Mike, like, what is your optimism? Where are you drawing your optimism from?
Well, I got one of the best run games in the whole league. That's number one. You got 2 quality backs, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. You've got a decent offensive line. If they can clean up some of the injuries that they had on the offensive line, they'll be a lot better. You have talented wide receiver in Christian Watson, who is definitely young, but he's got the speed, the size, and he really showed out, I think, in the second half of the season last year. There's a lot of reasons for optimism. You've got you've got 3 offensive weapons that were drafted that you can develop behind your young quarterback, Jordan Love, who's been in the same system for 3 years, and he's been patient. And, all the reports out of Green Bay is that the kid has done it the right way. You didn't see him barking and complaining that he didn't get on the field. He just put his head down, went to work every day, and this is his chance. And that's some reason for optimism when you have a first-round talent quarterback who's ready to play, who knows the system, and he's eager to get going. I think that's a reason for optimism.
That's a good call right there, too, because, on the NFC North open mic, it's like a leave your feelings at home. It's more like trash talking. So everybody has their optimism in their head. And that's what I really wanted to bring to light today was, the fact that you're sitting there with Jordan Love, right? You don't know what he is. You don't know what he is, even though Vegas doesn't believe in it and everything. And and the bettors aren't really talking about that. You have no idea. He was sitting behind a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he was also practicing on that same field. It's not like he sat there and carried a clipboard on the practice field. He was out there practicing with the 2s and the 3s, and those 2s and 3s are actually the 1s and 2s this year. So there's that.
I think that also all 4 teams have a reason to be optimistic in this collective respect, that this division is wide open. There is no Kansas City in this division. There is no San Francisco in this division. Any of these 4 teams could emerge as the division winner at the end of the year, and that's reason for optimism for all 4 moving forward.
Right on. So let's go and let's move from, we're going from left to right on this picture. I don't know if you can see this picture, but Jared Goff is the second picture on here. Let's get into the Detroit Lions. So why we're very happy about the Detroit Lions here. So why don't you give the Lions fan like the big, good, optimistic view of what the season could be?
Well, I think the main thing is they finished 8-2 down the stretch last year, and the team is now better than it was then. That's the main reason for optimism. Now, could they come out of the gate and start 1-6 again? Yeah, they absolutely could. But I think this team got better. The coaches got better. Now Dre Bly coaching the corners, an improved secondary. The main reason for optimism for the Detroit Lions is their defense is guaranteed to be better than it was last year. And their offense was already ranked top 5. And now when you improve the defense, they could go a lot further.
Yeah, for sure. Like with the Lions, what I like to call in this is like a leveling up of ships, right? Like when you go into the off season, usually you're like, okay, I need this guy or I need that guy. And that dude makes your team better. Well, the Lions did that too with their secondary and, bringing in guys like Mosley and Gardner and Sutton. But they also have this thing called the leveling up of ships. Most of the core of the Lions team is draft picks from Brad Holmes' first and second year. And these guys are going into their second and third year now, and they know the system. And here's a whole bunch of players. You're talking like, half of the roster are on rookie contracts with progression in their mind. If you ever played Madden football, you go from year 2 to year 3. Sometimes your guys just kind of get better by learning, right? We have a whole bunch of guys like that. And granted, not all of them are going to work out, right? But some of them are going to work out, and they're going to be elite players in this league. And that's what Detroit Lion fan has to look forward to. I think that we have the most solid roster that is returning than any team. And that's a good reason to be optimistic for the Detroit Lions. So let's get into some of these comments right here. Robert's got the Go Pack Go. Detroit has good depth and quality players from Calvin. Robert jumps in and says, I am optimistic. We are taking back the North. How's that for optimism? So Robert's feeling really good about Jordan Love and that defense in that run game. Facebook user says, how can I call in? Right now, main event Mike is using my call in, but when he is out of here, I will throw the number up there for you to call in. Right now, we don't have fancy wancy stuff. By the way, if you want to sponsor the show, we can get fancy wancy stuff. So yeah, leave me a comment for that if you like what we're doing right here. Yoli says, good morning. Michael says, good morning, guys. Thank you so much for coming on here and, being a football fan in the middle of July. We had no idea that this many people would care. Calvin coming in there. Yoli says, how is everyone? Mr. Wayne, JC. Now, I like you, Jason Smith. Thank you. Jason MC says, our defense got even better and faster. Madison, Jason, the Viking fan, your offense got better and faster. Madison is a super solid starter with our new blocking tight end, and I'm excited about the run calls this year. Okay, I'm not going to argue with you, Jason, on that because, you did improve on offense if you want to look at Madison like a super solid starter. So I am not going to own any of these comments today, maybe in the second half of the show.
Can I touch on that a bit?
Go ahead.
He's excited about that new blocking tight end. You know how much you're paying that blocking tight end? A considerable amount. As far as blocking tight ends go, he's the highest paid blocking tight end in the league. You've also got TJ Hawkinson. I want a tight end that can do both. I want a tight end that can, for as much money as you're going to have to pay Hawkinson, those two tight ends combined, you better get a lot of yield out of there, Viking fans.
Yeah, I don't want to rip on them too much because we're trying to talk about optimism here. Maybe like I said, we'll rip on them in the second half of the show. Yoli says, let's talk some football. That's what we are doing. We got some preach, real talk. We got real talk from Yoli. Vikings are optimistic for a high draft pick, says Calvin. I like that. That's a good dig right there. Jason MC says Addison will be the next Justin Jefferson. Now that is very optimistic. That is awesomely optimistic. Oh gosh. I love ripping on comments, says Woody. Woody was in here yesterday. He is part of Mike the Bear Fans Hallis Hall report, which will be airing every single Wednesday in the evening. And very good talk with you yesterday, Woody. I like talking real football. And speaking of Woody, he's a Bear fan, Mike. So let's get optimistic about these Bear fans, since he loves ripping on the comments. So if you're a Bear fan, let's get into it.
Yeah, Bears have a lot of reason to be optimistic. They've improved on defense. They drafted well, it seems like. They had $1 gazillion in the number one draft pick. So doggone right, they better be better. Obviously, the number one thing everyone's talking about with Chicago are these linebackers, TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, that they brought in. These guys both grade out real high PFF. They were both major contributors to good defenses last year. They're going to bring leadership. They're going to bring veteran presence, and they're going to raise the level of the entire defensive unit, having these two guys on in the linebacker room. So that's great, but the problem is they have no one else behind them. I know we're trying to stay optimistic, but the Chicago Bears are in a better place than they were last year, which was the worst team in the league with 3 wins. And they do have DJ Moore, which was the steal of the offseason, in my opinion. Ryan pulled off an absolute coup to get DJ Moore, to give Justin Fields a reliable number one receiver. So definitely I think that the Chicago Bears should be optimistic to look about 7 wins.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I don't think that you're ripping on them to say optimistic 7 wins, to say that team is going to improve by 4 wins and being the worst team in the league. 7 wins won't be the worst team in the league if they are to get there. And it's extremely optimistic to think that you had $100 million and you brought in a whole bunch of players that made your team better. Now, you still don't have the depth, so you're not going to be able – I don't think that you'd be able to compete with the best teams that are in the league because of depth. You're not going to be able to make it through the whole season. But if Justin Fields can, use that run to pass, if he can actually prove that he can throw the ball just a little bit, that team will be a lot better, in my opinion, right there. So Your Bear fans out there, throw some Bear fan comments in there. Give me some optimism right here. Here's a nice long one. I don't know if I can read all this. Notice to all the NFC North clubs, an athlete pictured below, modeled after the $6 million man, the greatest American hero, is poised to embark on an historic run, that of which the league has never seen. You will wash the taste out of Brady and Mahomes from your mouths and be gunning for Justin Fields, the name in your sleep. Aiden Hutchinson will collapse along trying to catch him. Rashawn Gary is not good enough to tackle him. Okay, and Quay Walker will throw a crocodile. Will throw crocodile tears. That will.
Oh gosh.
Now that it may be the most. That's Merkel. That's Paul Merkel. S-O-L Merkel. Okay. Paul Merkel is in the comments. I am so honored, Paul Merkel, that your homerness is on our show. I love Paul Merkel for your homerness. That is awesome. He will collapse along trying to catch him. Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah. You better not collapse along.
Merkel provides some of the best comments I see on the internet on a daily basis. As delusional as they may seem, so certainly entertaining. We definitely appreciate him. We'd love to get him on the NFC North Open mic and see if we can. I can rip his takes apart because it's a kinder, gentler main event mic here on the phone section.
It is, and most of the people that are out here don't want that kind of smoke. Because here's the thing: is on this show, even Lions fans, I don't allow Lions fans to come on here and talk nonsense. So, you can't come on here and talk all that nonsense. Actually, I'm allowing it today because I want to put the optimistic takes that are out there so we understand where the other fan bases are in their mentality, right? Lions 1960 says, I'm optimistic that the Lions defense can end up ranked in the top 15 or so. That should be good enough to make the playoffs. Great take.
Yeah, that's a great take. That's a great take. That's all we're asking for is top half of the league. In fact, if we had just that last year, if we had just an average defense, we certainly would have been a playoff team. When you look at Seattle, the punter never came on the field in that game. Yeah. There are definitely that is a great take. And you know what? With the changes that we've made, the maturation of the young players, and things that go under the radar, like the Levi Onwuzurike coming back, right. Charles Harris coming back. If these things really gel in the right way, we have a very good-looking schedule. We could finish top 10 defense. And if that's the case, look out.
Top 10 defense. Now if he would have came in with top 10 defense, I would have called him out. Are you here? Can you hear me?
Did we lose you?
Am I here? Hello? Hello?
Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you. Hello? Can you guys hear me? Oh, I love the smoke. Can you guys hear me? Can you throw a comment in there and let me know that you hear me? Because I don't know if I'm being heard because Mike just kind of, yes. Okay, cool. Mike must have just lost his ears right there. And I love this comment right here because I was going to call him out if he was going to say top 10 defense. I'm not going to let you just say, look, we're going to go from the 29th ranked defense to the top 10 defense. But if we are in the top half, that does make a big difference. This Lions team, if they had an average secondary last year, they would have won 13 games. What? I'll say that again because you might not have heard it the first time, but the Lions had an average secondary last year, they would have won 13 games. Yeah, that's the truth. So the Vikings, Facebook users, the Vikings may have a dark future if they don't have a quarterback prepared after Kirk Cousins. And I hope that is CNG podcast because I'm sorry that I couldn't get you on here. I don't know why I can't even invite people. I don't know what I did wrong in this thing, but I'm glad you guys can hear me. But I want to be able to invite people onto the show. And I don't have the invite. Maybe it's because I'm broadcasting in the groups or something like that. But I agree with that. The Vikings have the problem because they need to figure out what they're going to be doing in the future. And after their cap hell, and now they've dealt with all of the effects of what cap hell does to you, making you get rid of players and stuff. This wasn't strategic, Viking fan. Oh, we got younger. Look at Kwesi is awful. GM, and he has brutalized your team, and now you guys are paying for it. Now you're hoping that Brian Flores, the optimistic, is that you take guys like Andre Booth and Lewis Seen and Evans as the cornerback and go into second year. You're hoping that Brian Flores can come in and make those guys a lot better. Okay. But you don't have your quarterback of the future, and you have to get a quarterback on a rookie contract, or you won't be able to afford to pay Jefferson and Hawkinson. So that's where you guys are at. If you guys can snag up a quarterback of the future without having to spend a ton of money, that's when your reset will start. But I don't think that you're going to compete this year. Optimistically, Vikings, man, if you could win 9 games, I think that would be optimistic, but I don't think that you're going to do that. The optimism lies with DJ Moore, the linebacker core, and Justin Fields having one wide receiver and a giant for a right tackle. That is good optimism right there. Now, from the starting positions, if you guys can stay away from the injuries, because you don't have depth past those guys, you lose your right tackle, you have nothing that is going to be able to, other than like replacement level players, to be depth there. So you need all of those things: your linebacker core, your one wide receiver, and your giant for a right tackle all need to stay healthy all year long for your optimism to be there, because you need to have a next man up mentality. You have good starters this year. That's what Brian Poles did. Ryan Poles gave Bear fan optimism all day long for 24 and beyond, in my opinion. Fields total bust. Let's get real. I mean, you could call it that if you're looking at it from a statistical point of view, right? But here's the thing: when Justin Fields escapes the pocket, everybody on the defense gasps, because the dude is a freak. He is a freak. And if this guy can just get his passing up to below average, he might kill this league. Right now, he can't pass at all. He's maybe one of the worst NFL passers of all time. So he doesn't have to improve that much as a passer when you're running for 1,200 yards. Now, you do have to worry about injuries, because if he decides that he's going to run like that, it don't matter how big your right tackle is. If he doesn't follow the block or get rid of the ball, if he's not throwing at the wide open receivers and decides to run the ball and take a hit anyway, your career is going to be shorter. Okay. But the reason to be optimism is, yes, you got Nate Davis, you got DJ Moore, who is awesome at, when things break down, at being like, yoo-hoo, I'm open. Yep. Wide open, taking it to the house type of player. So there's a good reason to be optimistic, but I don't know if you're going to be able to beat some of these teams that are really, really good, that are really, really deep. Jason Smith, I believe that we'll have some good games in the NFC North, but I don't see them holding up to the Lions. And that's where the Lion fan is. It's like all the other 3 teams say, oh, wow, this is going to be a close match, and it's anybody's division. I don't think it is. My optimistic Lion homerness says that our team is deep. It's stacked from 1 to 90, definitely the best roster in the North. There's not even a close second, because of how well Brad Holmes is drafted. We got guys that are on our defensive line that would start for the Vikings and start for the Chicago Bears. Omar here says Aiden Hutchinson overrated as F. I'm not going to say that. I'm PG-13 during the day. And Woody says, I want the smoke, but I want to go back to that other one while I took that cuss word off of the deal. Aiden Hutchinson overrated as F. Okay. I'm trying to figure out where you would get that, because 9.5 sacks and it is like one of the greatest rookie defensive end stat lines ever. Like, everybody thought he was going to be a bust. Oh, he didn't do anything at Michigan. He had a couple good games, one good game against Ohio State. Okay, that's cool. It's all good, but he was good. Like, right now, if he's overrated, what is he overrated from? Is Aiden Hutchinson overrated? I mean, I don't think he's that overrated. I mean, nobody's calling him like a top 5 pass rusher or anything like that. Everybody's just kind of saying that has a potential to be good. You don't think he has potential to be really good? Is that overrated? Okay. You're still there. All right, everybody. Thank you for chiming in. Jason, Michael, Raymond, and TJ, and Tommy. Lions 1960. I appreciate you guys telling me that you could actually hear the words that were coming out of my mouth. Because sometimes I feel like I'm talking to myself, which I actually am. I'm just sitting here up in my little lion cave here talking to y'all. Calvin says that if your D-line balls out, it could be top 10. Yeah. I mean, isn't that the case for a lot of the teams? But that D-line that the Lions have is it's basically the same D-line from last year. You got Hutchinson, you got Pascal, and then you have James Houston. And those 3 guys combined for 21 sacks last year as rookies. What? Rookies. You don't even know about Josh Pascal yet. Everybody's sleeping on this guy. You haven't seen him, but the game that he came back from the hernia, he got 2 sacks. And that was our 2nd round draft pick, but nobody's going to talk about him. If you're a Bear fan, Viking fan, Packer fan, you're like, who? Josh, who? Josh Pat? How do you even say it? No, you're going to have to worry about him. Good run setter right there. And then you got Romeo, you got Charles Harris. I mean, the pass rushing room is deep, and we like that. You like that? I do like that. I like that a lot. Lions picked up an average cornerback at best and a one-hit wonder Johnson. Okay. An average cornerback at best. Are you talking about Emmanuel Mosley, or are you talking about Sutton? Or are you talking about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who led the league in interceptions last year? Which one of these average cornerbacks at best are you talking about? You talking about Cameron Sutton, who is a top 10 versus other wide receivers, pass completion percentage, top 10? Or you're talking about top 10 Mosley in coverage? You're going to have to clarify that. I'm going to need to know. Caldwell. Lions will make the playoffs. How many INTs for Love this season, Green Bay Packers? How many INTs for Love? You think Love's going to be efficient? You think that he's going to come in and kill it? He didn't kill it in college. Threw a lot of interceptions. Has accuracy problems. That's what the knocks on him were. I don't know if he's going to be that. He was pretty good last year against Philadelphia's prevent. The optimism lies with DJ Moore and a giant right tackle. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. CNG Guy. Thank you, Guy. CNG up in the house. Jason MC says Love with 18 interceptions. That's a lot of interceptions there, brother. That's fair. Oh, man. I appreciate all these comments. I'm going to take this time right here. It is 11:36. Let's go through and do a little station identification right here. Here we are on the NFC North. It's North Open Mic on Monday nights from at 7 o'clock Eastern. Bring your thick skin. Leave your feelings at home, because we don't care about your feelings on Monday night. That's a little more of an R-rated type of experience right there. But represent your team. If you're a Packer fan, you got Bill the Packer fan. Bill the Packer fan will hook you up with all the Packer news. All of the great stuff, the Packers. If you like that, if you're a Packer head, that's who you want to follow. The Hallis Hall report. That's Mike the Bear fan. If you're a Bear fan, you might want to go follow him, or follow CNG Podcast. CNG Podcast puts out great Bear content. If you're a Lion fan, come and follow us. You know, we're representing the Lions. We're representing the Lions harder than anybody that's out there. We're out here fighting for the Lions out here. We ain't just homering on a team being like, oh, the Lions are gonna be good. Yay for the Lions. No, we're out here saying, hey, Bears, y'all suck. Hey, Packers, y'all suck. We're out here talking the smack. We're walking the walk. Even though we don't like we're big tough guys, like we actually play on a team or something. Yeah. So if you love that Detroit Lions news, I'm telling you, this right here, these guys, Joe Chapp and the Detroit Lions news, you have no idea how much we appreciate you letting us come onto your network right here with all of your 50,000 people and, you know, talking some Lions stuff. We're representing the Lions on here, and we appreciate all the Detroit Lions news people. If you're watching from Detroit Lions news, we appreciate you for supporting the Lions in this way. I understand a lot of people like to just talk Homer, but I appreciate you following the Lions in this way. And then obviously the YouTube channels, we got the groups that we're broadcasting into, NFC North, The Huddle, NFC North Open Mic, and then of course our YouTube channel as well. And we appreciate you guys, man. It is like July 13th and there's 30 people on here ready to talk about football. People are ready to rip some heads off because there's less than 7 days left until rookies report. And we're going to have football action to talk about. Heck yeah. That's right. All right, let's get into some more of these comments right here. Raymond. Raymond, I'm feeling you on this. The Lions are going to have to cut some really good players. Other teams are going to gobble them up too. Yeah, that's what happens when you have a good, deep team. You're going to have to get rid of players, and you're going to have to let players go that you thought, oh, yeah. I just got a text message from Main Event Mike saying that he just threw some money down Caesar's Palace for the Lions to win the division. If you went out there and did that, do you have that kind of faith in your team? Bear fans, have you went out and put your plus 5,000 or what, 2,500 vote and bet on Justin Fields to win the MVP? Have you been out there and done that? I want to feel good to talk about the Lions that way. Yes. We are a versatile team. 3 picks for Jordan Love all year. Now that's homerism. TJ, really? 3 picks for Jordan Love for the whole year? Come on, man. Jared Goff was the most efficient quarterback in the league and threw 7 picks last year. I mean, that's crazy. That's better than Aaron Rodgers ever did. That's crazy. Adam says, I'm Lions all day. Aiden is a beast. Like it. Like that call. You like that? The Lions are going to have to cut. Okay, I already hit that one up there. Hopefully, the Lions will not be losing at the end of the game on the last-minute field goal like in the past. The Lions need a 9-point game in the fourth quarter to avoid this situation's thoughts. I don't agree with that at all. Because if you remember correctly, last year when we went into Lambeau, the last play of the game, or the last play that mattered, was that 4th and 2. We didn't have to have the lead. Got to close them out. What we want to be able to do is get that stop. On that 4th and 2, all those timeouts gone, you want to get that first down and kneel on the ball. Because most of the games are within 7 points. That was one of the things I love about talking to some football fans. It's funny, like, hey, yeah, we lost. We only won 3 games, but like 10 of them were like within 1 point. Hey, like 80% of the games in the NFL, period, are all decided by less than 1 score. Now, I don't know if that's exact numbers, but I know that it's high. Very, very high, that most of the games, the parity in the NFL is unbelievable. They don't have bad players in the NFL. You don't make it into the NFL and suck. Now, they may have shitty coaching staffs. There's a lot of other factors that go into good and bad teams, but it ain't the players' fault usually. You got to organize. I believe JG is going to be a top 5 back. JG. I was thinking Jared Goff. Okay, you must be talking about Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs is going to be scary. Gibbs should be scary. And if you guys are just saying, "Oh, you reached on a running back in the first round," you ain't going to be saying that when you see number 1 running away from you because you can't catch him. Jahmyr Gibbs is the truth. Have you watched him go? Pascal is going to be crazy. Thank you, Adam. Caldwell. I hope not 18 INTs. Hey, it happens. The thing is, you get a chance to be out there all the time. One thing that Jordan Love is going to have on him now, finally, after all these years, you ain't going to be surprising nobody because they're going to have tape on you. Oh, the dude, Callie, and the dude that called Hutch overrated. I mean, that's okay. We get a little smack talking, and you can call him overrated. The thing is like, I want you to call him overrated. I want you to be loud about him calling it overrated. That way, when I reference back to it in the middle of the season after he's had 5 sacks in 3 games, I'll be able to go back there and be like, "Oh man, what happened? I thought he was overrated," right? That's what I like about Smack Talk. I don't get mad about Smack Talk. Smack Talk, fan hard. If you're a Bear fan, fan hard. If you think Justin Fields is going to be the man, fan hard. Jason MC. Barnes, Kalen Barnes CB will be super fast addition to the next Byron Murphy. Will be strong next to safety Harrison Smith and Lewis Seen. Okay. I mean, that's a lot of hypotheticals there, Jason. And that's what we're doing today. We're taking the optimism. So there's where the Vikings, you like that? They're putting their hope right there into the young secondary. You got Andre Booth, right? You got Byron Murphy. See, Byron Murphy didn't play as good as Patrick Peterson last year, but he's younger. Peterson had a great year last year. 80% of Patrick Peterson is better than 100% of Byron Murphy from last year. Byron Murphy was okay. He's a decent piece, but he wasn't as good as Peterson last year. So you're hoping that these guys are going to progress underneath Brian Flores. And that's, that is something to be optimistic about because coaching does make a difference with young talent. And it's not like he's jumping in there and, going and trying to coach Darius Smith and Kendricks and like they got rid of those guys because they want to see what they have in their young players. And if 2 or 3 of those guys pop at the same time, just like the Lions with their team, then Brian Flores could put his hat in as a head coach, right? Maybe Brian Flores is going to be the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings when he has a way better defense and the team regresses, and then you have to, then you fire your coach. I mean, last year, you won a lot of close games thanks to Captain Kirk. You like that? But you cannot expect to win all 11 of those games that are close. That's ridiculous to think that you can maintain that level because that just doesn't happen. It just says that the law of averages are gonna seep in, but could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. I could be eating crow because I think the Vikings are going to lose all 6 of the division games. I could be eating crow on the first game of the year. But Adam says Laporta will blow up. I like that call. Laporta is a tight end that was drafted, but they're not going to use him like a tight end either. I think Brad Holmes decided to take a couple people like Jahmyr Gibbs. Oh, he's a running back. No, I have zero confidence that they will only use him as a running back. David Montgomery is the running back for the Detroit Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs is what you call the super toy for Ben Johnson to just put wherever your weak guy is. Wherever your weak guy is where Gibbs is going to go. And where your second weakest guy is where Sam Laporta is going to go. Sam Laporta ain't going to be blocking nobody. Brock Wright will block people. James Mitchell will block people. Sam Laporta is a pass catcher. They drafted him as a pass catcher. He was the best in the nation at breaking tackles. So it's obvious what they're trying to build. They don't want to keep the ball in Jared Goff's hands. Nobody wants to see Goff run. Isn't that the scariest thing you ever seen as a Lion fan? Oh, here goes Goff. He's going to escape the pocket. Oh, here goes Goff. No, nobody wants to see Goff running except for opposing defenses. Oh, Love will be the best QB in the division by the end of the season. Wow, gosh. You really believe that? Do you really believe that? Wow. That's so much. Wow. Love will have more interceptions than Justin. Now that's interesting. I like that call. Let's bring that one up right there. Nice call, Woody. I wish I could invite you on right now. I'm going to have to figure this thing out because I have no way to invite people. I had to talk to myself for the entire episode today. Not that is that bad, but Justin Fields, Jordan Love. This is such a the matchup here. Come on, man. It's like these guys, it's like they're the same guy, only Justin Fields has gotten 2 years of starting experience. Jordan Love's been sitting right back there. He's been patient too. You ain't seen Jordan Love complaining too much in the media about it. That's a good thing for Packer fan. But Woody's saying Love will have more interceptions. And that's possible, man. I mean, he can escape the pocket. He's got a lot of good things in there, but come on. Lions, 1960. Cam Sutton is above average. I'm sure Kirby will get some picks against Love. Above average, I loved the Cam Sutton pickup. I don't know what you get on average with him. That dude's one of those grinders, right? He's drafted in the 3rd round by Pittsburgh and then has to work his way onto the roster because he's 5'10". He doesn't have the size that the other cornerbacks have, right? You know, you don't have that prototypical size. So other guys are going to get opportunities in front of you. This dude grinded and worked his ass off until he became the starter of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And maybe he might not be a number 1 corner, not in the traditional sense. But the guy works. He's smart. I think he's way better than above average. I think that he's a really, really, really good cornerback. And that's what I'll say about Byron Murphy too. I don't want you to think that I'm ripping on Byron Murphy either. He's in that category too. So bear down, Mike. Justin Fields will take a huge leap. I'd rather him throw 4,000 yards and not make the playoffs. Wow. I rather him throw 4,000 yards and not make the playoffs. I had to reread that to make sure. Are you sure that you want to put that out there? Bear down, Mike. He will. He could take a huge leap. I'd rather him throw for 4,000 yards and not make the playoffs. Gosh, that's crazy for you to say that. Bear down. Bears don't even have a show. Hey, the Bears have a show. They have a show. Let's get this one up here. I'm throwing it out there. Hallis Hall report. I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but give me an opportunity to promote Mike the Bear Fan and C&G podcast. These guys do a lot of collaborations together too. So if you're a Bear fan, go out there, follow those guys, man. We love talking trash. We love having fun with our fandom. I mean, if you want to go to another group and be like, the Bears, and just go up a whole bunch of the Bears, and you don't want to do any arguing, you don't want to go out there and talk some trash for your team, yeah, go follow some of those other groups. But if you want to have some fun, you want to call me a Lions homer, you want to call some Packer heads homer alert. Oh, and you think Justin Fields is going to be good? Come on. You have a lot of confidence in that? And the whole way that thing went down, you guys could have had 3 first-round draft picks for Aaron Rodgers, but Gutekunst decided to wait. Oh, I think I can get in the playoffs this year. Let's take one more crack at it. The Lions put a stop to that like that. Caldwell. I think the Pax D's coming out with a chip on their shoulder this year. Watch out. Caldwell. Joe Barry. That's your big question, right? Can Joe Barry get it done? Down the stretch, he was a lot better. I think Packer fans unjustly go after Joe Barry a little bit. He didn't start out well, but he got a lot of young players on that defense. Got 8 first-round draft picks. By the middle of the season, you're going to get Eric Stokes back. That secondary might actually be pretty lethal. You know, Sewell Douglas can move back to his position. Like that. The Lions will be a top 3 offense in the NFC. I certainly hope so, Carl. I like that call. We sucked on third downs. Yeah, I don't know which team you're representing there, London, but which team sucked on third downs? Was that the Packers? Was that the Lions? Yeah, might have been the Lions. We weren't that good on third down. Roschon Johnson will be awesome. You know, that was a really good value pick right there. I got to give you credit there. We're doing optimistic today, right? I'm trying not to rip these guys too much because I have my feelings on these guys, but I wanted to make today's episode a little bit different. That way we can talk about the optimism of your teams, right? Roschon Johnson. I mean, that's a big dude. That is a big dude. Third down. He may be the man. He may be your number 2 running back fairly quickly. Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs. Adam says Jahmyr Gibbs. I like that. I agree. Minnesota could be the second best next to the Lions. I don't know. I don't believe that, but it's definitely possible. I really do believe that the Lions should win this division. If they don't win this division, I'm going to be mad. Because I'm not right now. I feel really good about 24 and beyond, right? Like as these guys are progressing, I mean, we have, you know, the rookies that become veterans. As those guys start to become, you know, more solid veterans, I expect them to compete. If they don't win the division with the Green Bay Packers going influx to Jordan Love, a lot of questions for Chicago where they're still building up their team, and the bottom falling out underneath of Minnesota. If the Lions can't win this year, I don't know how much confidence I could have with them going forward, right? I mean, you're not going to get a better position than that, right? I mean, right now, all the other teams being in flux, that's your opportunity, Lion fan. I think Minnesota's going to struggle this year. Calvin said, with the pieces in place for the D-line and the secondary so far, I'm hoping that the linebackers can do a better with QB containment. Well, yeah, the linebackers were a lot better last year, Calvin, for the Lions, because I remember going into the season we were covering, and there wasn't a lot of love for Alex Anzalone. There still isn't a ton of love for Alex Anzalone, but some of the really good fans understand that he outplayed suck. He didn't suck. You don't get 125 tackles and suck. Now, he may not be Luke Kuechly or anything like that, but he's a solid piece to have as a linebacker. Derek Barnes took a big step last year, and Malcolm Rodriguez surprised everybody by being a 6th-round draft pick. Now you're going to add Jack Campbell to that. So, yes, Calvin, I definitely expect the Lions defense to be better. Lions fan 160. Yeah, I'm optimistic that Ben Johnson will scheme Gibbs, Montgomery, and St. Brown and Laporta in a way to shock the Chiefs right out of the gate. Wow. I'll be feeling good about that. If the Lions can go into Kansas City and win, that would blow my mind. I haven't decided. I haven't made my official lock of where it was. I have my homer pick from earlier, but when we get into the point spreads and stuff like that, I'll have to see where my mindset is on that first game. But I don't know if I'm going to predict the Lions to lose any of the games this year, and I'll probably be wrong 5 or 6 times. But I feel too good about this team. I mean, unless it falls out real early, I think I'll be predicting them to win in almost every game. Adam says, facts, Laporta will have 800 plus yards. That would be an excellent first year as a tight end. Facebook user says Woody's on drugs. He has a super bust at QB. Yeah, there we go. I mean, I don't know about that. Mike Anderson says Fields throws for 4,000 yards and he'll have 20 interceptions too, if he throws for 4,000 yards. I don't really think you guys want Justin Fields throwing for 4,000 yards, because that means you have no run game and your defense is probably ass. You don't want him having that many stats. You want to balance that out and put him in a position to close games out with that running ability. You don't want to be playing catch up. If he throws for 4,000 yards, that means you were playing catch up. Just means that Justin is our franchise quarterback. Yep. And here's a good thing about that. Even if you're wrong, Mike, if Justin Fields is not your franchise quarterback, let's say that he goes out and he's dog water this year, right? Let's say that he goes out and he lays a giant egg. Well, your general manager, Ryan Poles, has put you in a position with 2 first-round picks for the next couple of years that if Justin Fields doesn't work out, you'll be able to get value for him because you'll trade him if he doesn't do well this year. You'll get a little bit of value out of him. You won't get a ton of value because they've watched him suck for 3 years. But you'll be able to take that value, your first two round picks, and be able to go and get your quarterback of the future. And if Justin Fields does suck this year, you're going to have a top 5 pick anyway. So I think that if you're a Bear fan and you're looking at a 3-year deal here, you're feeling pretty good by the time you get to 2025, 26. I think you would like that, you know. You like that? So the Lions had a fluke lucky season. That must be John Dorn, because only John Dorn would say fluke lucky season. So the Lions had a fluke lucky season. Be lucky to win 8 games this season. Be lucky to win 8 games. All right. Well, since it just says Facebook user, I can't call you totally out on that, John Dorn. But Bears absolutely sucked on third downs. Yes, they did. Lions, yes. Thank you, London. Thank you, Michael Anderson. The entire NFC North were ranked in the middle and third down conversion rate. Okay. Yeah. The NFC North as a whole, like we all do this bragging, but you compare us to the other ones, it's like we haven't been that good. If you have to go back to 2010 to get a title out of any team in here, really, I mean, that's too long, man. That's to be braggadocious, the Packer fans can say, well, at least we made the playoffs every year. Yeah, but you want titles. You want titles. If you want to brag to a bunch of teams that don't make the playoffs, that you made the playoffs, okay, good. You've been better. You've been better than the Lions in the last 30 years. There's no denying that. Every team's been better than the Lions the last 30 years. There's no denying that. We can go rehash that stuff and you can feel good about yourself. Yeah, well, we're so good yesterday. The Lions look like they're the best team in the NFC North right now. Hands down. Like, I don't understand where we could even say the other teams are coming in. Maybe the Packers, because the Packers are about the closest in that, because they're actually returning a lot of their team, not named Aaron Rodgers, right? If you're overselling the fact that the Packers are going to be bad just because Aaron Rodgers left, that might be a mistake too. You don't play defense. And that defense is pretty good. Can be pretty good, I should say. I feel that the weakness at the Lions is the D tackle. You know what? We thought that too. We've covered that. We've covered that the weakness might be at defensive tackle. But here's the thing is Brad Holmes is in charge of this team. And he obviously feels pretty good about Aleem McNeil. And they think that putting him at the 3 technique is going to make him more like he was in the New York Giants game. So maybe they just believe in third-year player Aleem McNeil and third-round draft pick Broderick Martin. Isaiah Buggs had a career year last year, and so did John Kaminsky. They brought in Covington. None of these guys are the sexy picks that you like, but they got the right attitude, and we have progression. Oh, Jeremy Ballrick, Annalise will suck again this year. He didn't suck last year. So, I know that you hate him. But man, I don't understand that, Jeremy. He proved you wrong last year. He had a decent year, 125 tackles. No, he wasn't perfect on everything. But he was way better than you said, especially that name, Annalise. Come on, man. He was better than that. He was. But here's the good thing about that, Jeremy. Since we're talking about this, Annalise Anzalone was the starter last year. I think he'll be the starter again this year, but they've made the moves. The progression of Malcolm Rodriguez, progression of Derek Barnes, and bringing in Jack Campbell. Anzalone could find himself, third or fourth on this depth chart pretty quick. And I think that would make you happy because we would both agree, and we have agreed on this on our show last year, is that when he's coming off the bench as a third or fourth linebacker, that's actually what you want out of him because he plays pretty good in coverage. So that's all I'll say about Anzalone. Calvin, Ben Johnson is going to be just going to torture other teams' defenses with the players on our offense. Yeah, I think that the Lions are going to create lots of problems. They'll put defenses into trick boxes because you're not going to be able to defend everything that they have. And you've put Goff in a position to where he can get rid of the ball fast. And if he doesn't get rid of the ball fast, he might score a touchdown because he's one of the best play action deep ball throwers in the league. Regardless of what you say, I live in reality. And last year, he can't throw the deep ball. He threw the deepest ball, the deepest touchdown, longest in the air last year out of everybody. Josh Allen, everybody. Longest ball. So stop the nonsense that Jared Goff can't throw a deep ball. It's nonsense. It is proven to be nonsense. Bear down, Mike. Bears will get 2 edge rushers before camp. Well, that's nice. Nice. 2 edge rushers. You're going to get what type of edge rushers are you going to get? You're not going to get elite edge rushers right now. You're going to get replacement level players unless you trade for somebody. You think you're just going to fix it. Like you just drop some players in who have never played with you before, never played in your scheme, and you're just going to drop them in, and they just get to have continuity and everything. They just get to go, wow, we're just awesome, jumping right in. You sound like a Lions fan. You sound like a Lion fan. Trey Flowers, remember that? Trey Flowers, all the Lion fans. Oh, yeah, it's the Patriot way. We just drop them right in there. We have the best pass rushing. No, you don't. You have a player from a different team that's going to come onto your team, and you hope he plays good. You hope he plays good. Jeremy, he had 10 interceptions with 800 yards thrown his rookie year. So 40 interceptions with... Oh, I love your math, Jeremy. I love that. 10 interceptions with 800 yards thrown this season. Maybe he'll become a little more accurate. I think that they're hoping that 40 interceptions. Justin Fields is killing it. 40 interceptions. Wow. Man, Justin Fields. Oh, wow. Okay, so Dwayne Keene says, let's go Detroit Lions. One pride. Thank you for the comment, Dwayne. Lions 160. If Goff gets injured before Hooker's healthy, we can always put in Laporta as the Wildcat QB. I guess so. If Goff gets injured before Hooker's healthy, that's one of the car wrecks that could actually happen in the Lions season. We got to keep Goff upright. We don't want to see Hendon Hooker this year. I know it's exciting to have a running quarterback that can do some stuff outside the pocket. I get that. That's what they mean when they say they want to upgrade from Goff. You don't want an upgrade from Goff because it's hard to upgrade Goff. You want a guy that can escape the pocket. I understand that. But what are we going to do? Bear down, Mike. Packers make the playoffs just to get bounced out by the 49ers. Yeah, that's happened a lot. Maybe it's different now. Jordan Love is going to change it all. Maybe. Brandon says, you think the defensive tackle is a weak spot. However, I think the same thing you're saying. They have a lot of linemen, and they think they will progress in the spot. Yeah. I mean, that's a good take, Brandon, and I'm glad that you agree with me because it's like, you got bodies in there. So if you go, let's just say they go and they pick up, a replacement level defensive tackle. I mean, this guy's got to make the team, right? So Bugs knows the system. He came in and killed it last year, regardless of whether you know the name or not. These are how the guys played. You're going to bring a guy in off the street. He's not going to know the stuff. These guys have all been around the culture. They all been around the coaching. They understand what Aaron Glenn is looking for. You're not going to find guys like that on the street to replace that. So unless you're trading for Aaron Donald, which I think is a mistake because you're paying draft capital and you're bringing a guy in to pay a max contract to, and I mean, that would definitely show that you're all in to win a Super Bowl, but I don't think that that's where they're at. You want to see what you have. What if Aleem McNeil has a breakout season and 10 sacks from the interior? You still going to think that we need defensive tackle help? Love that call. You like that? Good call, Brandon. Thank you for your comment. All right, Jeremy Ballrack, Packtards will puff their chests over 2 QBs playing the last 16 years, perennial playoff contenders, 2 Super Bowl wins, impressive. 6 and NFL MVP awards to Packtards really think that they have another first-round QB, 3 in a row. That is impossible. It's scary, Jeremy. You know, like you putting all that out there, yeah. They should have won more titles. I mean, you can make fun of them a little bit for that, but they have dominated the division. And 3 in a row is crazy. That's crazy talk. 3 Hall of Fame QBs in a row. I mean, I'm with you, man. 3 in a row, that is like the football gods or straight out, the script coming in and just saying, hey, we need the Packers to be good, so we have to make sure that this guy's good. I don't think Jordan Love is that guy. I think he could be a good quarterback, but he ain't on the level of Rodgers. He ain't on the level of Rodgers. He ain't as fast as Justin Fields. We'll see. We'll have to see about that. Like that call. Thank you for being on here, Jeremy. I love your comments. I will think that we did offense. I think that we did awesome on defense and offense, plus pick up a good free agency players. If we come back with the hard-nosed football and we just and stay focused, we can have fun doing it. We won't back down, and I think that we will kick Kansas City Chiefs' ass. All right, I like that call. I would love to see that. Good call, Dwayne. Glad that you put it out there. If I keep on seeing Anzalone dive at running backs' feet and blow by like Quadzilla did in week 18, then I will continue to call him. Yeah. Hey, that's cool. I mean, you're obviously going to call him that forever because you're not going to give him any credit for the good things that he did. He did have 125 tackles and, with a unstable linebacker core, and he's been a professional. I mean, you'll always call him that because you're going back, and what I believe you're doing, Jeremy, is cherry picking all of the bad plays. It's like saying that the Lions defensive line is awful because they got murdered up by Carolina. They had an off game in that game. And if you want to say everything is that, I mean, that's your, you can do that, but really, when you look at the whole package, you watch the good with the bad. And with Anzalone, there was definitely a lot more good than there was bad. And if it wasn't for Barnes stopping Quadzilla at the goal line, Anzalone would have cost us the game. You know what? I made a reel with that stop with Derek Barnes and him standing up Quadzilla right in the middle of that defense. That was impressive. I do believe, Anzalone is not the future for the Lions. Anzalone, when you look back at it and he's not on the team anymore, you're going to look back and say, hey, Anzalone came in and held the fort down while Brad Holmes drafted Derek Barnes, Malcolm Rodriguez, Jack Campbell. That's what the optimism, that's what you want. And then you want Anzalone to be on the team as the 4th or 5th linebacker. That's what we were working towards. No, Jeremy, I agree with you in this respect that I don't want Anzalone being my starting linebacker. I want more talent in the starting part. But what the guy was asked to do, I think that he did a pretty good job with what his ability is. London, one pride. Do you think, and Brandon says, do you think that CJ Gardner-Johnson plays well? The Lions re-sign him long-term. That's a good question. That's a really good question. It just depends. The reason he gets a 1-year deal, I'll say this. He got a 1-year deal because he likes to talk trash. And if he doesn't get his way and you make him mad, then he will go to Twitter and he will tell you exactly how he feels about your contract negotiations to all of his Facebook friends and his Twitter friends. That's why you didn't make a lot of money this year. Now, if you go out there and the Lions win a couple playoff games or do something spectacular, of course they're going to re-sign him. They got $70 million next year, Brandon. That's why I think they got a lot of these long-term deals. And I don't think it would be long-term. Brad's MO is prove it deal, then 2-year deal. Like if you prove it, then you get 2 years. And if you do like Anzalone did, where you proved it again, then you get a contract extension for 3 years, right? I think that's what he got. Was it? Did he get 2 years, 3 years? Jeremy will probably correct me on that. Prove it deal. London says prove it deal. Yeah, I think that you could keep Gardner Johnson on prove it deals. And I think that he'd be okay with that because, if you put incentives in there, a guy like him will ball out. And, talk smack, doing it all the way there. A little bit of swagger back there. But, you got Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. Gosh, man, talk about a guy lost in the shuffle. Got the best safety in the draft at like 40, 45. Is that what they got him? They trade up 45 and get him? Heck yeah. And you're not even talking about him. This guy's going to get brought along like Hendon Hooker. You don't want to talk about him, but that's our depth, man. It's so nice to draft guys and have it be depth instead of, I got to get this guy out there. Jack Campbell doesn't have to start week 1 because of guys like Anzalone. You can ease them along and have them learn the playbook. And those guys, when they learn, obviously the talent's going to carry them. Dwayne Keene says, be awesome. Thank you, Dwayne. Because Karen Rogers was a closet 49ers fan. Oh, Mike the Bear fan. Drunk thinking Fields can actually throw over 25 yards. Wow. Well, we can split the difference. I'll go out there. I'll be drunk for you. Mike, Russell Wayne, the Lions fans, thinks that Justin Fields will throw over 3,000 yards this year. Yep. I don't got the link. Oh, yes, I do. Let me do it. For some reason, I got in here. Where did my link come from? That's crazy that wasn't there. I'm going to throw a link in there. I might want to talk to Woody for a little bit. We get about 15, 20 minutes in here. We can talk. I'll throw the link in there. Who wants to come in here and talk? Talk some stuff. Talk some stuff. I don't know why my invite didn't show up. That's good. Thoughts on Noel Sewell? That's a late round pick for you, right? Was that a 4th round pick? Bear down, Mike. Bear down, Mike also says Lions MO is one good season and then nothing. And I can't, as much as I want to argue that and I want to throw some shade back at you, bear down, Mike. I can't argue with that, man. And I wouldn't even say last year was a good season. I would say last year was a progressive season and then nothing. I can't dispute that. I just want to see it different. I want to see it different. I think it's going to be different, but I have nothing to back that up. I can't go anywhere with that. What do you think about that, Woody?
John Dorn.
Is he on you?
It's the Facebook user.
Okay. He's a user.
Wow. Okay.
He's a user. Okay, I see how he is.
Yeah.
He's using all them psychedelic drugs like Aaron Rodgers was, right?
Wow, what a homer. He'll bash down every team in the NFC North and think the Packers are still the best team. It's good to be optimistic, but be realistic, Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the NFC North trash talking where all of the people think that their team is the best.
Oh, my God.
And there's Jeremy. I don't know what happened. Jeremy, I don't know what happened with it, but for like the first half, I don't know if this ever happened to you on StreamYard, but I didn't have anything to present. I couldn't had none of my icons. Does that ever happen to you?
Last night, it happened with Restream last night on my show. So I think it's something to do with YouTube is starting to screw things up a little bit, trying to get podcasters to try whatever they're going to advertise next.
Okay. I mean, I love being able to have everybody here and have the opportunity to come on the show, and I was losing it there, and I thought this was, and it sucked because I thought this was the best topics that I had.
Oh, you had some good topics, and I'm going to say this about week 1. Everybody can say that we're in for a dogfight. Offensively, maybe, but defensively, I think our defense is going to come out better because we have more veterans on our roster than what the Chiefs have right now with what they lost in the offseason. They have a tendency to come out slow every year and play dog water defense for 5 to 7 weeks. Then they turn it on and make the playoffs as the number 1 seed in the AFC West. That's no bullshit. You can look. They go 3-4, they go 2-5, or they dread at 6 weeks. They're 3-3. It's 6 to 7 weeks. They do that every year. Then the next thing you know, they rattle off 10 games in a row.
Yeah, that does seem to be like their thing, but that's the thing is like because you're paying Patrick Mahomes, $75 gazillion a year, you have to constantly restructure your roster, and Mahomes has got to be that guy. I mean, you got to be able to come in with guys like Tony and all these other wide receivers just out of nowhere, and you just got to be good with them because you're making all the money. You better be good. So I agree with that take right there. I wanted to jump back in here on this Bear topic right here because I got into the Bear Down. Mike says the thoughts on Noel Sewell.
He's going to he's going to be good.
That's a 4th round pick. That's borderline for me to call the homer out, but I know that Lions fans
It's Homer.
Oh, Jeremy, please. Jeremy, please.
Come on, Woody. I got to give you a little shit.
It's borderline because here's to me, like if you're looking for starters, I think that you could go rounds 1, 2, 3 confidently and say, hey, I think that this guy could make an impact on my team. 4th round is like, oh, okay. Well, Sewell was at least rated as a 2nd, 3rd round pick coming out. And
not after the combine, he wasn't.
Oh man!
Here's the thing: is he could be good. I don't know a ton about him other than he's Penei Sewell's brother, right? He's just related to Sewell. I know that Lions fans were clamoring for him. Oh, we need to try. I saw him mocked about 90 times in the 2nd round for the Lions. And I don't know if it's just because of the name. We need to have Sewell and Sewell because we have Okwara and Okwara.
I think he might be good depth for the linebacker position. I can imagine him being with Sanborn or TJ Edwards if he doesn't start. But I think we have our depth in linebackers. But Sewell was a good pickup. And I like Stevenson too out of Miami at cornerback. He's turning some heads in the
I like that.
Training camp.
I'm not going to say anything bad about Tariq Stevenson, right?
Right.
I
say Tyreek. I'm sorry.
But you bring up a really good point.
Tyreek is Hill. Mr. Hill is Tyreek. He is Tariq.
So you make a really good point there, Woody. And the fact that the thoughts of Noel Sewell, if you were depending on him to start, then I would say that you're in trouble. But the fact that you get to put him onto the training camp and you get to have him sit behind these, known players that are out there, that does make a big difference because I think what happens to a lot of players in the NFL is they do get thrown to the wolves too fast. And then sometimes that completely takes their self-esteem of who they were coming into the league and they think that they can't do it. And then there's a mental hurdle that they got to get by when they go out there too fast. What do you think?
Well, just like it's not like Christian McCaffrey reading the Niners playbook on the plane over and then learning it right away. So that's
but when you're traded in the middle of the season, that's understandable right there.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that, Jeremy?
I think it's great for 4th round picks or later to have to learn the playbook unless their name is Amon-Ra St. Brown or Derek Barnes, who all played as starters their rookie year.
But even Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's a great example right there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, when we drafted him, like we rolled out with like Perry, like we had Tyrell Williams, like I mean, we had all these guys out there. Amon-Ra really didn't make the impact until like
I want to switch to my laptop so it looks a little better. You want to send me the link on Messenger real quick?
I'll just throw the link back in there just in case we want to get.
Because I can't find the damn. I'm on my phone. I want to get it out on my laptop real quick.
Right on. Okay. So oh, I lost my train of thought.
Fourth round picks or later. We were talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay, yeah.
Amon-Ra. He was right. Technically supposed to be the fourth or fifth best wide receiver in that class. And if you look at what was drafted around him, the only one I see better than him right now is what, Jamar Chase?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys that are, and there was one other one that was pretty good.
They haven't had more production than him. What I'm saying is Jamar Chase is the only one that's had more production than Amon-Ra St. Brown in receptions and yards. Hands down.
For sure. I mean, as a fourth round pick, if you got a top 10 wide receiver out of a fourth round pick, then that's what it is. I mean, come on.
What I think is funny is you're going to see next year, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be able to take every wide receiver out of that top NFL 100 picked ahead of him and name every one of them like he did every single wide receiver that was drafted before him. And I was right. I looked it up. It was 16. He did not pick 14 because that's how many wide receivers went ahead of him. That was a rumor and a bald-faced lie.
Okay. That's
I wanted that comment. I don't know who made that comment that said Love's only throwing 3 interceptions this year.
Look, he hasn't thrown any interceptions this year. He's only thrown 3 interceptions.
Let me see if I can go find it.
Yeah, I was saying, look up Joe Burrow's rookie stats his first year.
Better,
and
it's better.
Love's going to be nowhere near it. He's not nowhere near Joe Burrow.
Check out nowhere. New headphones, boys.
Yeah, looks good. Look at that.
Looks like you're gaming.
Style.
What are you playing? Call of Duty?
I am playing NFC North will lose to the Lions this year.
Jesus. He sounds like John Dorn. Jesus Christ.
Hey, this is the Homer show, though. This
is the home of the bad takes. I'm going to give them right now. The Lions are going 5-1 in the division this year. And guess who we're going to split with? It's not the Vikings or the Packers.
Dumpers.
Why do you think that?
You are the only team that improved on defense other than the Lions in the division. Did
you watch me on the show yesterday? Our problem is if we don't get any edge rushers, we're in trouble. I mean, Gibson's got to step it up.
Ryan Gibson, I thought, the division, go fleece him for Daniil Hunter.
Oh yeah, Gibson. I liked him when he was on the other side with
page out of Brad Holmes' playbook and fleece Ryan Poles. Have Ryan Poles fleece that idiot up in Minnesota who trades with everybody in the division.
That's right. That's right. Give us all your draft picks, and then you can go ahead and tell them, hey, win the division.
We'll give you a first round pick, but you give us 2 through 7 and Daniil Hunter, and it's a deal. We'll do it.
That's our big issue is Gibson's got to step it up this year if we don't get a significant pass rusher. He was good, when Mac was there, and stuff like that. But last year, with us being last in sacks, we're in trouble.
And it's such a big thing, Woody, because I think it's way undersold, and everybody looking at the Lions saying, hey, it's going to be Goff or this or that. It ain't Goff. It ain't Gibbs. It ain't none of that. It's Frank Ragnow. It's Penei Sewell that's going to take Gibson and just throw him on his ass, because he ain't going to be able to get by Penei Sewell, because Penei Sewell can block Bosa. He's the guy that can go up against the best defenders in the league. Not
how do you think he'd fare against TJ Watt though?
I think that he fares well
he
against.
did pretty good against TJ Watt when we played him. We ended up in a tie in that game when we were dog water.
Yeah, I mean, Penei Sewell is going to be an all-pro. I think he's going to be the best left tackle.
And that's who I wanted in the draft. That's who I wanted in the draft a couple years ago, Sewell, because we needed offensive linemen.
And those are the types of things, like you got Jonah Jackson.
I hate to say it, you still do.
Yep. Like, well, I mean, we'll see.
You got lazy eye Tevin Jenkins that has a bad back and can't block the blind side to save his ass. You got the guy you just drafted, Broderick Jones, to be the right tackle, which is amazing. That means Justin Fields should be able to at least read that half of the defense now.
Well, I like the addition of Nate Davis as well, and moving Cody Whitehair, the most important position, moving Cody Whitehair to center. That's what I like.
Yeah, he did play pretty well at center when he played there, didn't he?
He did play good. It's just last year he sucked. He's got to be center, definitely. Cody Whitehair.
And there, it's like that move around piece. One of the things that I love about what the Lions have done on the offensive line is like they brought the unit back. Other than that three-way, whatever they're trying to do at right guard, everybody else is studs. And, and if they take Vaitai, who didn't allow a sack in 21, or Glasgow, maybe he's a little overrated. And then our fifth round rookie, Corby
Glasgow's more overrated than Tevin Jenkins was in the draft.
I don't want to tout this fifth round guy, but I did include him in the competition when I put out a post with Vaitai, Glasgow, and Sorsdale competing for that one spot. And the other two guys are going to be depth.
And Jeremy Tevin, he has mental issues. You can't mock him for that. Jenkins.
I'm giving him the nickname that one of your fans gave him. They call
Who's
him
that?
Valerie Bordeaux. She's been a long time. She hates lazy eye Tevin Jenkins.
He's nasty though, dude. He run it like with
his
he's
look. Nasty. He keeps giving up more sacks than the other side does.
Oh,
the other side was garbage.
And if he's crazy, I mean, what do you want on your offensive line? Do you want sane?
You want nuts. You want nuts. Yeah, you want 5 Ndamukong Suhs on your offensive line. Plain and simple.
You need a guy that's willing to stand in front of Ndamukong Suh
and not step on their head or anything.
That calls for crazy eyes. You got at least. You like that? Oh, yeah. Man. London says, I feel like our weakness as Lions fans is the defensive tackle. I mean, those are fair. That's fair.
It's fair to say that, but you know what else I can say?
What about
wait until the season starts to say it is a weakness, because everybody has developed another year in the system. We brought Comiskey back for a reason. Pascal's coming back healthy. He plays inside, outside. Romeo Okwara at times can even line up at D tackle in a 4-3 defense, as he did before. And that is when he was productive. As a strictly D end in a 3-4 defense, Romeo Okwara is garbage.
What?
As a strictly 3-4 defense, Romeo Okwara is garbage. It's why he keeps getting hurt, because he's not playing at his natural positions. They're moving him outside the linebacker. And yes, he has that questionable size where he could be a tweener for D-end or outside linebacker, but he's not comfortable. That's why he got hurt. Has nothing to do with his conditioning. It had nothing to do with his body. It had to do with how he moved. Watch him in that game where he got hurt last year. He looked like a lumbering ox trying to be a ballerina.
You talk about Romeo?
Yes, Romeo. That's how he got hurt.
He had 2 sacks in the game he came back.
When he came back. But I'm saying before he got hurt, he looked like a lumbering ox trying to be a ballerina. He did not look comfortable.
They did change the defense around last year. We're not really in a 3-4 anymore. We're
a 4-2-5.
It's a 4-2-5. It reminds me of it's kind of like an attacking 3-4. It's like we play it like a 3-4, but you use that third linebacker position as either a DB or an attacker.
Mhm.
Like somebody that's like a jack linebacker. It's like a 4-3 with a jack, or
A Viper safety.
Or a Viper safety. So I love that because you can kind of play. You can kind of play out because that's why Brian Branch is going to be so great.
Garrett
because
Payton totally
he's a
agrees with me. I
borderline
don't like him.
linebacker. He's a run stuffer. He's a pass rushing safety. Mm-mm. But
What does that comment say? TJ Watt, who?
TJ.
Oh.
Yeah, we're just joking here. I don't think
that's a joke. Don't go there. What is Bahia? Is that some sort of new Hispanic drink I haven't heard of yet?
Baja? Is that is that
Bahia.
Bacarari?
It's Baha'i. Baha'i.
Do you want that to be?
Maybe it's.
Is he on the Detroit line, offensive line?
No,
it's Facebook. It might be John Dorn trying to brag up Bakhtiari, who doesn't even want to be playing on that team.
And he even said he doesn't want Bakhtiari there.
Hey, I'm going to ask John Dorn, and hopefully this is him. How do you think Robert Tonyan will do for the Chicago Bears this year?
That's a great pickup for you.
We'll see how much. He killed us.
I actually like that from a schematic because if the Lions are coming in with a fast team, we were talking about this yesterday, where you want to come in big against that. Like I wonder what that's going to be because they draft 2 tight ends. They're going for big formation. So is Green Bay. They drafted 2 tight ends. You guys have Tanyan and Kmet. Like I think that they're going to try to go big against our speed. How we're like, and I don't know which wins that. I heard it.
Like I said yesterday, man. Speed kills.
Speed kills. I mean, I feel like we tried to do the big thing with Matt Patricia and it failed miserably. So I hope it fails miserably for you guys too. I don't like him. He's so unproductive. James Houston, way better.
Oh shit.
Just better production. Houston is not a complete package. Romeo Okwara has never been technically a pass rush specialist. He had 1 good year on a very bad defense. Let's get it right. He had 10 sacks on a defense that was absolutely horrid at getting pressure. That was a Matt Patricia ran
10.5 sacks. 10.5 sacks.
10.5, whatever. Tomato. This in one hand, that in the other. See which one fills up first.
Yes, Romeo is garbage. You got back on that. Gosh, man. The way I look at it is, I mean, 10.5 sacks is not garbage.
What he is a great run stuffing guy. James Houston is a better pass rusher because of how low he gets. That guy gets so low, I think they have to use a magnifying glass to see him go under him because that guy gets low. So James Houston is the one that's going to be in on the pass rushing downs, and you watch. It'll be Romeo Okwara in on the actual running downs.
Absolutely.
The reason why is he's a run stuffer. Just like Pascal gets pressure, but he's more of a run stuffing.
That's a great comparison. Romeo is Josh Pascal, but Pascal is
older.
Yeah. Right. So I like Romeo because he does play inside and outside. You don't want him, dude. If you're playing Romeo Okwara as an outside linebacker, then you're a fool. And that's what
happened
did.
When he got hurt. No, that's what happened when he got hurt with this defense right here in year 1, when he had that big injury that took him out for a year and a half. That was the injury. He was playing outside linebacker. He looked like a lumbering ox trying to be a ballerina, getting around a tight end, and he twisted his legs up.
So let me ask you this on the 3-4 thing, because they did start out doing a 3-4. Do you think they made it 3-4 more to do with what was left behind from Matt Patricia's regime?
When we stripped this team down to the studs, we only had enough D tackles to platoon 1 spot. Granted, Michael Brockers came over, but he was supposed to be inside, outside. But the way he played,
that was a fail.
He needed to hit the bench.
So, yeah, I don't agree with Romeo being garbage, but I mean, I feel okay. How about
you're
this?
More in agreement with what I said. James Houston is the better pass rusher, but
for
Romeo
sure,
Okwara is the run stuffer.
Romeo Okwara is. I'm going to compare him to your guy, Annalise, because I don't like Anzalone as my starting linebacker. I've been pretty vocal about that too, but I love him as a guy coming off of the bench, just being on coverage downs and stuff like that. Now, Romeo, in the same respect, I don't like Romeo as my starting defensive end. Even though he could start over there in Chicago, he could start in Minnesota, but I don't like him as my starting D end. I like him coming off of the bench in relief for defensive tackles and then D ends.
First down is 90% your rushing play in the NFL. I like him as a starter because that's where you're going to need him on first down. He will be on the bench every passing down where the D ends could drop into coverage or pass rush because he's not as good at it anymore. Now
unless
they move him to interior as a DT2.
Like it. I like it. That's exactly on. That's exactly on right there. Biting kneecaps with Jeremy Ballrick. He always has the good, insightful, deeper information for you. I mean, we're a bunch of hacks on this show. We're trying to learn football, man. I've been playing as much Madden as I can, trying to learn the rules and stuff.
Stop. No, you guys do a great job. You know, as far as fans go, I would rather have fans that are slightly informed instead of slightly retarded.
Thank you. And that's what we're trying to do here with today's episode. What we want to do is we want.
Well, I agree with that, but the homer, there's a difference between being optimistic and homerish. The homerish people gotta go. I know, like I said.
Well, you have to take them to negate the ones that are the negative Nancy's. So you got to have your homers, and then you got to have your haters in your fan base.
I don't think they got to go.
You need them there because I like it when those two go against each other because that's hilarious. You get some of your best shit talking between your own fan base.
Wow. I mean, people laugh at me when I say I'm the most realistic Bear fan out there. I just keep it real. I still think the Bears are the most improved team, but they're coming up from the cellar. And, you know, like I said last year, we cleaned out the cellar. We left the keys under the mat. We took down all the decorations. It was going to be the Bears or Packers that went there last year. And I wasn't wrong. Except that, you know, the Bears only won 5 less games than the Packers.
It's funny when people come at you from your own fan base and they're like, oh man, they're going to win more than 7 games. It's like, okay, that's fine. I have them at 7 games.
Like I have them at 5 to 7 games myself because they're that improved that they should win 2 to 4 games more than what they did. But I don't see them improved enough to get to the playoff status. There's still question marks. I'm just being as real as I can. Is there a possibility they could win 9 and sneak in as a backdoor wild card? Yeah, of course. If they play above their means and Justin Fields learns not to be a one read and run quarterback. Until I see that on the field, I do not trust Justin Fields. I trust Love more than Fields right now. And that's not saying a lot.
But here we are, and this is what we're trying to do here. It's like, as the optimistic Bear fan, everything that you said that you don't think is going to happen, that's where they're resting all their stuff. Oh, yeah, Justin Fields, he's going to do all that stuff. He's going to do this.
In his rookie year, he threw for 800 yards and 10 interceptions. So you multiply that by 5 at 4,000 yards. You're talking about 4,000 yards and 40 interceptions.
That's crazy. I mean, no, I don't think he's going to be that bad, but I don't think he's going to throw for 4,000. I think 3,000 is what you should be looking for with how he's running.
Well, think about it. 4,000 is not inconceivable because that's only 295 yards a game with 17 games. That's 295 yards. That is an average QB game.
For a guy that's averaged 150?
I understand. But wait, no, I'm just saying if he makes that leap to an average quarterback, completing over 60% of his passes.
250. That's what you're looking at,
250,
right?
250 should be his ceiling. But yes, you should be looking at around the 210 to 220 mark and maybe 2 touchdowns and only 1 pick in those games.
Right. And
that
then
means
you want to
learned
have
read
like
a
maybe
defense, and he's making good decision making, and
70, 80 yards on the ground.
70 to 100 yards on the ground. Tops. Yep. That's what you want out of him.
So
but
yes,
I don't see that.
So I agree here with Freddie, and I agree with you too. James Houston is the future, right? Like any of these other guys, like Romeo came back for $1.50 and a bag of chips, and took all the pay cut and just said, I want to play on this team, and is willing to come in off the bench as the 5th, 6th dude, right? I mean, there's a chance that you could be right, so right on Romeo Okwara that he doesn't even make this team. Like, he might be on the practice squad.
I said, as soon as I looked at our roster, what we re-signed and what we drafted, guys looking over their shoulder, the first 2 off the top of my head, because I knew Brockers was gone, was the Okwara brothers.
Okwara, both of them.
And because neither one of them are a Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell fine. One was traded for by Quinn. One was drafted by Quinn. The other guy looking over his shoulder, as much as I hate to say it, because he did game out for a couple of games before he got injured, is Chase Lucas. We don't need him now.
I mean, we'll see. I love this.
Gary Jacobs is a guy that can play the 2 as well as the slot. So I have the feeling he's going to make this roster still on the practice squad.
So that actually lends to one of the other comments that was, I don't know if I'll be able to go all the way back up there, but they were saying that it was going, man, my train of thought. Yeah, calling him a garbage is a bit harsh. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not calling Romeo garbage. That isn't what I said. I said he's great at run stuffing, and he benefited on being the worst pressure team in football, where the only guys they were worried about were on the other side. So he was ignored and got pressure.
Okay, now I find this comment. Oh, damn it, I lost it again. But anyway, the comment says that, like, there's going to be such a harsh competition that, like, I mean, we're going to be getting rid of guys that can play on other teams.
Yeah. That I mean, AJ Parker, more than who can play. There's no room on this roster for him anymore with what we picked up, even in UDFA rookies. That's right. Starling Thomas. He's faster, taller, and stronger. That takes AJ Parker out. He's faster, taller, and stronger than Will Harris. Okay. And I'm not trying to beat around the bush. I'm talking about pure athleticism.
Sure.
And he's almost the size of Ife Melifonwu. Does that put him on that questionable might go down to the practice squad?
So these are really great end of the depth chart matchups that are going to be in there that are going to really decide. They're going to have to make some really, really tough roster decisions, because I like Chase Lucas. They've been bragging about him. They've been saying that he's been doing well, but it's like, when competition is competition, the cream rises to the top, man. And that's what it is. And that's where we're at.
And that's what that's what I wanted to come in and talk about. And that in week 1, like I said, Chiefs are either the first or the second youngest defense in the league right now. And they have been in that top 3 every year for the past 4 years. And what have we seen? They start slow. They give up big chunk plays. They give up big gash yardage in the run game. We got a guy that runs a 4.3 in the 40 as a running back. He's not going to be our main guy running, but I would utilize that speed in this first game because that defense runs slow.
That is what they're going to be doing. And we went 50 minutes over again on here because 25 people decided to stay all the way to the end. And I really do hate leaving with people on here, but that's actually a good thing. You know, I mean, if that was the case, like when Bon Jovi would play their big concerts, they would be playing until 8 o'clock in the morning if they played until everybody left.
They've done it before.
They've done that before. And we go over.
We don't get paid as much as them.
Yeah, I wish.
Hey, stay on after the outro because I want to give you some good news that I got from YouTube.
Awesome. So here's what we're going to do right here. This is Jeremy Ballrick from Smoking Jeremy B. He's got a great podcast and a great show that he gives really good, deep, insightful information, not as much as the smack talking like we are on here, but he gives good information on biting kneecaps with Smoking Jeremy B. I'm going to put a shout out right here as I'm closing out to, let me hear.
Raymond Peterson hopped in. He says, that's what I said. Lions are going to have to cut good players for other teams to grab. It's a fact. But I do want to say it's now called kneecap biting with the Detroit Lions. I am taking myself out of the title because I no longer have to promote myself like a pimp beside a Navy naval base before payday. There we go. Ugh, easy for me to say.
I don't mind shameless promoting myself right here. Football talk with Russell Wayne. That's me. I love being able to come out here and talk some smack with everybody, being able to talk some good football. We are broadcasting live right now, not only into Jeremy's YouTube page, but we're also broadcasting into Bill the Packer fan, who, I mean, if you're a Packer head and you're into all that cheese and all that crap, then you want to follow Bill because he has good Packer content that's on there. Mike the Bear fan and CNG podcast, great Bear content if you're into Bears. We got our Detroit Lions villain squad. This is our page right here since a D-bag from Shelby Township decided to make it hard on us. We decided to start this brand new page right here. We appreciate everybody for following, liking, and subscribing to this page right here. And then obviously the Detroit Lions news. You guys, thank you, Joe Chap. Thank you to the 55,000 people that are in that page, allowing us to broadcast onto your platform.
Yep.
Get a foothold in here. And the NFC North main event, our YouTube page, subscribe. God bless you guys. I'm from Russell Wayne, from biting kneecaps. I'm going to say Jeremy B because that is Jeremy B. And we're going to see you guys tomorrow, 11 a.m. Football talk with Russell Wayne. One pride, baby.
One pride.